Oh, C is working from home. Lindsay, you forgot to pick Sandra up. She's wanting you to know you forgot to put her. I mean, look, there's plenty of room on your, maybe Gigi has room on her lap. I know the back seat has no room. Okay, guys, so I want to talk about staying in the moment to stay consistent with your business. And the reason I feel like this is so important is because I know we just finished a 3-month qualification for a trip. And I know we're in a qualification with Lavelle for a corporate trip. So there's always these little, not little, these big things that will propel someone to work their business. But what is so important is staying consistent and working the business, even when there's not something like that. And so I want to talk about the beauty of staying in the moment so that you can be consistent versus that panicky, oh my gosh, I got to work really hard for 2 weeks or I got to work really hard for 2 months kind of attitude. So before we start, Lindsay, you can't close your eyes. Well, actually, I'll do the one where you don't close your eyes. I want you right now to look around and pick out 5 things that are around you. Like find 5 things that are sitting next to you. Like I have a cell phone, I have a bottle of Sculpt, I have my highlighters, I have my iced tea, and I have a hole punch. Right? What are 5 things that are around you? Do you see 5 things? And I know Lindsay's driving, so be safe. All right, now I want you to stop for just a second in your brain. I want you to think about the bottom of your foot. What does it feel like right now? Have you ever thought about what the bottom of your foot felt like? Unless you stepped on a rock, obviously. Right? So we're just sitting here. What's the bottom of your foot feel like? Now I want you to think, what are you hearing with your left ear? Your left ear. Pay attention to what you're hearing inside of your left ear. Do you notice a different pitch or sound on your left ear than what you're hearing on your right? Can you tell a little bit of a difference? Yeah. Okay, so those are just some grounding exercises. That is just to get you in the moment, right? First, we found ourselves in space. We found 5 things around us that we could see that we know are legitimately there. Then we started paying attention to a spot on our body that we don't normally pay attention to. And then we really got grounded by paying attention to how different it sounds right now in this moment from your left ear to your right ear. And it's so crazy to me how different it does sound if you pay attention to what's coming in to 2 different ears. So this is obviously a little bit of the hoodoo voodoo of being grounded and being in the moment. But what I want to point out to you is that when I gave you simple tasks to do, like naming off 5 things or focusing on one thing, you were able to do it like pretty much immediately, right? You didn't really have to stop and think, how can I find 5 things around me? Or you didn't have to think, well, how can I feel the bottom of my foot? Like, you know exactly what to do and you could do it in the moment because those tasks, you're not overthinking, right? You're just getting a task. You're in the moment. You're grounded. You're doing what's being asked of you. So how many of you, when you sit down to send out your messages, just sit down and send out the message versus start thinking about, well, if I get this person to sign up, then that's 1 step closer to my trip. Or I don't know, the last time I talked to this girl, she looked at me kind of funny. And I think maybe she thinks it's that I'm weird because I'm in an MLM and she's probably talking about me behind my back. And I don't know if I should send this message to her, right? Like how many of us do that when we're just supposed to do a simple task? I mean, I've said this before. We are not climbing poles and getting power back onto cities after storms. We're also not cutting up open people's brains and we don't have people's lives in our hands. We are literally, as promoters, just asked on a regular basis to do some routine steps to expose people to the product and the business that we love. Right? The definition of network marketing is building networks of people to expose to products and services. If you think of it that way, my job today is to build a network of people that I can expose to my product and service. If you think of it that way, your job becomes pretty easy, right? You just have to expose people. You got to build the network. How do you build the network? You can work in groups on Facebook. You can join and volunteer in different programs. You can wear your DFT loud and proud when you're out shopping, right? Like there are ways to build your network. And by building that network, now you're going to expose them to something. And so now when you sit down to do your messages and it says send out 3 messages to introduce yourself to someone, send out 3 messages to thank someone for their support with your social media. Like now, if you just sit down and you stay grounded and you stay in the moment and you just do the task that is asked of you, do you know how easy your job becomes? Right? It's not hard to send out 3 messages saying, hey girl, what's happening? I haven't talked to you in forever. Or, hey, how did it go with your mom at the doctor last week? Or, hey, I don't know, I saw you guys went out for his birthday. Is that restaurant any good? Like when you break down what we do and you stay in the moment, not letting yourself get wrapped up into the what will she say, or what if they think I'm dumb, or I really need them to say yes to this because I need them to sign up, right? Like how different does that feel to you when you really think about that? Like no one is admitting this, but I know, like, don't you guys all struggle? I mean, do you not struggle with this when you sit down to send out messages? Do you not struggle with what are they thinking about me? Or, oh my gosh, I need this person to sign up so bad. I don't really care if their dog is okay after the vet visit. I just want them to think I'm amazing and order my product, right? How often do our brains go there instead of staying in the moment so that we can stay in business? There's a big difference between using your vision of your dreams to push you forward and staying in the moment to stay consistent, right? There's a time and a place for you to spend with your dreams. I want to be 200K. I want to have this beautiful home. I want to be debt free. I want to have a great car. I want like, right? We have our dreams. And those are the things that propel us to get up every day. But then we got to get down into the nitty gritty, into the dull, the mundane, right? And we just have to send messages. We just have to talk to people. But we have to do it without jumping to conclusions or going past that minute. We just have to think to ourselves, what am I being asked to do at this very second? And I can guarantee you, if you're following along with our new messenger mission challenge, script, checklist, whatever you want to call it, it's not that hard, you guys. It's 3 messages to new people. It's 3 messages to people who already follow you. It's 3 messages to people that you've worked with before, you've talked to before. It's 2 messages to ask people if they're interested in trying a sample of your product. It's 2 messages letting people know that you have a product that you use that you love, right? You can do that very, very quickly, which then allows you time to enjoy your life, right? Sandra says, volunteer, join an organization, which Lindsay told me to do 2 years ago when I moved, and I have. Love your leak. Yeah, so like that's going back to building your network. You know, people can look at building your network as hard, but it's not. Like she's volunteering and doing something she loves. I've built my network by talking to people on social media about gardening and in real life with my garden club, right? Like you can build your network lots of different ways. It's just here's the thing. Like if I went to the garden club meeting and from the second I parked my car until the second I went home, if I had in the back of my head, oh my gosh, I hope these girls want to buy my product. I hope these girls want to buy my Thrive. I hope that as soon as they see me sit in this room, they're like, what's that sticker? Order me some, right? If I go into Garden Club with that mentality, I'm going to miss out on Garden Club. I'm going to miss out on actually connecting with a lot of people because I'm not in the moment, right? You want to be in the moment, not only to build your network, but then to talk to them. Sheila's question, this is a lot of messages per day. How are you managing your time on these? Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 13 messages a day, which the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is 9 messages. So it's really not that many more. And how I'm managing my time with that is like yesterday, I sent out 3 messages to people that I have met or conversed or interacted with in my groups. And it was literally copy and paste. Hey, you know, let me find it because copy and paste means my brain doesn't have to retain it. So let me find this, Mary. Hey, Mary, I came across your post in the Greater Cincinnati Gardening Club, and I have to say, you starting that that canna from seed really caught my eye. Seriously, I didn't even know we could do that. Can't wait to follow along and see how she grows. How long have you been gardening? I look forward to hearing from you. Then I copied it and I pasted it over to Bob, and he didn't grow a canna from seed. Bob actually has this tropical plant that's not supposed to grow in Ohio, but somehow it's in its 4th year. And I was like, I didn't even know we could do that, right? So it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of being prepared to go into the messages for the day. So the sheer fact that I have that one message I sent, I can now copy and paste that and just tweak it very quickly. Copy, paste, tweak it. When it's talking to people who are supporting you or interacting with you and you're like on your posts, your stories, your reels, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Again, that's just a matter of, oh my gosh, hang on. I hope I can get through this today. Let me find one. So there's a couple ways when I look at the stories, reels, and support one, like today, most of the people who were commenting or interacting in my stories from the last 24 hours, it was very easy for me to reach out and be like, hey, I keep seeing your face on here. How are you doing? Something like that. But if I don't know somebody, or maybe I've known them for a while and I'm just not really sure about, like, well, I don't know, should I talk to them? Can I ask them a question? Let me find the one I sent the other day. There's this girl, Jill. She is so sweet. She's all the time commenting. If I put a poll in there, if I put anything in there, she always gives me some sort of emoji. She's always talking to me, right? So I was like, hey, Jill, I've noticed you've been loving on my stories. Thank you for all the likes and love. I'm not sure if this product is for you, but I'd love to send you a sample to see what you think. If you're open to it, just click the link to share your address and I'll get it right to you. Have a fantastic day. And then I put my link in there. So again, that's a copy and paste. And if you guys are like, where is she coming up with these words? It's all in the guides. Like we gave you all this stuff last Thursday. So if you know what to say to somebody, say it. If you don't know what to say to somebody, go to the scripts and use them. There are days I wake up and I feel 1,000% confident and I'm like, I can knock this out. And there are other days where I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody for any reason. So that I have to copy and paste. But if you have those, if you spend the time, like that's why when we presented this new sheet to you guys on Thursday, we said, spend Thursday night getting your group message together. Spend Friday getting this. Like if you spend time getting those messages ready to go, you can buzz through these 13 messages faster than we can be on this Zoom together. Like so much faster. Like honestly, in the time that we spend on this Zoom in 30 minutes, you could probably do triple, if not quadruple the amount of messages on here. The other way you can think about this, and I don't know how many of you caught this when we were talking about it. We have this set up. There's 3 for Monday, 3 for Tuesday, 3 for Wednesday, right? Well, maybe your time would be better spent if you notice there's 5 categories. So on Monday, you could just send all of your group new follower messages, knock all those out, 3, 6, 9. So it's 18 messages, right? And then on Tuesday, you could do all your stories, knock them out. Wednesday, you could do all your follow-ups, knock them out. It's whatever works for you. Try it both ways. This is new for a lot of people. Let me catch up with the copy and paste works so fast. I sent all mine in 20 minutes. People don't respond all at once and they don't expect you to respond immediately either. Then you have the whole day to carry on. That's a really good point that Samantha brought up. So again, we're staying in the moment, right? We're going to do the task at hand. We're going to send out these messages. We're not going to overthink it. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to get up and move on with our life. We're going to go back to work. We're going to go back to our kids. We're going to go back to whatever our chores are for the day. We're going to go volunteer with whatever thing we're a part of. And then a few hours later or later in the day, then you can come back and answer all those messages that you send to people because, now you've had time to live your life also. Lindsay says, ashamed to say I knocked this out faster than any challenge we've ever done and finally have genuine conversations. It's not called millionaire message mission on accident. This is way more effective than post and pray. Yes, that's awesome since my Tuesdays are where I can hardly breathe. Yeah. So there's lots of ways to work around this. And you notice we were lighter on Saturday and Sundays. So if you're like, I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to work on Sundays. I'm not even we go to church every Sunday morning, but there's just part of me that's like, you know what? I'm going to work Sunday night for the power plan. And I think it's okay corporate America doesn't ask me to work on Sundays, right? So I'm going to take that day. So I'm going to do all my work on Saturday. Maybe you're really busy and you're traveling and you're going to have a great Saturday and you're going to be full of plans, but on Sundays, you're going to be like chilling out, then work on Sunday or just do extra on Thursday and Friday, like whatever, like just fill out these check marks during the week. But I promise the copy paste will get you there. And that's the whole point of this whole like staying in the moment and not overthinking things. If you look at a sheet and think, oh man, I can't send I don't have time to send all these messages out, then you're right, you don't. But the 30 minutes that you just took worried about that, you could have copied and pasted a few, right? If you can go to the bathroom and take a bathroom break or, people take smoke breaks at work all the time. Go to the bathroom, copy, paste, send 6 messages. An hour or 2 later, go to the bathroom, copy, paste, send 6 messages. You're more than halfway done right there on 2 potty breaks. But it's because when you sit down to do it, you can't overthink it. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm a robot and I don't get nervous. I do get nervous. And that's why I have to stop myself and say, okay, Tammy, what are 5 things that are in front of you? What do the bottom of your feet feel like right now? Like, you literally just have to ground yourself in some way, shape, or form, and then remind yourself, I just have to copy and paste some messages. That I don't have to overthink this. This is not the message of all message that's going to send me to Cancun. This is not the message of all message that's going to make me a 600K, right? I just have to send a message so that I can stay consistent in the moment with my business, right? It's like when you're with a little kid, you don't want to not be in the moment, right? Like, you want to be with your kid. You want to be in that time. If it's someone's birthday and you're singing happy birthday, you don't want to stop midway through and be like, oh, I'm trying to sell you, something, right? You want to be in the moment. What's the same with your business? I promise, promise. If you stay intentional with your business in the time you've allotted. So if you're like, I'm going to work my business for 15 minutes this morning, you just saw, I think it was Samantha that said, I did this in 20 minutes. If she was like, I'm going to work my business for 15 minutes, she's almost done with her whole day in 15 minutes, right? Because she was intentional. She didn't get on and scroll. She didn't get on and overthink. She didn't panic and worry. She didn't start doing the math about, well, if I send this message and that message and they spend 15, they spend 200, I think I can get to that trip, right? She's just working her business. Don't forget to share your screen. Oh yeah, thank you, Samantha. In Thriving Sisters, where the sheet is posted for the week, don't forget, we want you guys to, like, this is not, I mean, I love this, but this is not just for me, right? We want it to be for everybody. We want to see, what scripts are you sending? What script did you get a good response from? What's an idea that you had that worked really well? Or ask a question in there. Same thing. If you're like, man, I just listened to a podcast today and it was killer, put it under that thread. We want everything to stay under that one post for the week. So it's a resource for people. We don't want the team page blowing up every 2 minutes because somebody's like, I had this script or I did this. Put it all under that one post. So it's a resource that people can go back to. Also, those scripts are going to be slowly but surely absorbed into our master script document, right? Took me longer to edit my story slides than to send messages. Yes. And that also brings up a good point. If you're like, I went through this today. I was just sharing this with Lindsay and Samantha before the Zoom. The first thing that's on our list says group members. Well, Thursday, I started the sheet last week on Tuesday, right? Like I did a couple of days before we launched it. So Tuesday to Sunday, I introduced myself to a bunch of people that I'm in groups with. And today I was like, oh, I don't really have any group members to talk to today. That's my flag to be like, hey, note to self, put an interactive post in your group, Tammy, so people can start commenting so you have more people to talk with, right? But does that mean I don't send my messages today? No, there's also called followers. So I went and sent my message to new followers that I gained over the last month or more by doing reels or posts or whatever. So there's always something. So like if you go to your stories and you're like, no one's really interacting, okay, we'll go to your reels over the last couple of weeks. Who commented, who hearted it, right? Who's been on your post in the last week. There's always someone you can talk to, and there's always someone you can check in or follow up with. There's always somebody you can ask if they want to try a sample or if they know people that want to try a sample, right? Like there's always going to be plenty of people for you to do this with, some way, shape, or form. But again, you just have to not, like, I could have panicked. Like there was that little bit in me this morning that was like, oh no, I don't have anybody in my groups to talk to. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I was like, wow, settle down. You have plenty of followers, and now you know that you just need to go make a post in your group that's interactive to get more people to talk to, right? So this has a very much has a built-in check system for you. If you literally look and you have nobody that's looked at your stories, and you have no one that's looked or liked or hearted any of your reels, and you have no one who's commented or given a thumbs up or whatever on any of your posts, you need to rework your social media, right? But these are just built-in checks for you. But my whole purpose with this was I don't want us overthinking, because I know that some people got this challenge and they were like, yes, sweet, copy paste, I got this. And other people got it and they were like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to tweak a message. I don't know how to use AI to tweak the message. Yes, you do. You do. You know how to use all of these things. Even if you don't, and that's the thing too, I don't want you to feel like you have to use ChatGPT. Like if you're strong in speaking and you know what you like to say to people, you don't have to use ChatGPT. Like just make your message, right? If you know what you want to say, make it. But I want you to remain in the moment and not be caught up thinking I'm only doing this for XYZ, because we had, I think it was 20, like 20, for sure 20 solid people that worked to earn this trip, this retreat that got announced, I think on Thursday or Friday. And, you know, a condominium is only so big. So we were only able to bring so many people. And I don't want that to deflate anybody, because here's the thing. If you only worked for that retreat and then you drop off the face of the earth, guess what? There'll be another retreat coming. But the people who get to that second retreat are going to be the ones who never lost momentum. They never stopped working. They never took their eye off the big prize. Retreats and trips are great. Your paycheck is even better. So if you work for your paycheck and you work to get those compensation bonuses, and you work to get your customer orders, and you work to help your team do the same thing by staying in the moment and sending these messages day after day after day after day, and not connecting your worth to who responds or what they say back, and not connecting your ability to be good in business based on what somebody might respond to your message. If you just stay, I wish Lisa was on here, because she always says, marry the process, divorce the outcome, right? So if you've been working and the outcome doesn't go where you want it to go, that's business. I don't know how else to tell you. That's just business. And I know I have a lot of experience with it, and so I can say that confidently. And I know some of you are newer to business, but just take my word for it. That's business. You're going to have shitty people. You're going to have uneducated people. You're going to have people that want to bring you down. That's just business, right? But if you keep showing up every single day, you will build the business that you're looking for. But you can't only build the business for the highlights. You got to build it for the day-to-day. Lindsay says, another thing I'm learning is my reply needs more questions to keep the conversation going. Yeah, so it's all learning process. Definitely. I mean, have you guys ever been in a message with somebody and they just keep writing you back? And you're like, okay, we're done. Like, I don't want to be on the, we don't want to be on, I mean, not a customer necessarily, but just like another human that you're messaging, and you're like, okay, that's enough. Like when you're like, okay, thanks. And you're like, oh, you're welcome. Like they just keep writing back. And I'm like, no, like stop, right? But we don't necessarily want that here. We do want to ask questions. Now, be human. Don't ask 18 and keep asking this person something, right? Like don't be a pain in the butt, but you do want to end with a question, right? And then just naturally, you're going to pause the message at some point. You're going to take a break, and then they'll come back up on your follow list later on. But yes, for sure. It's, you know, wow, your trip looks amazing. Yeah, well, duh. Of course it does. There's palm trees and a beach there. Versus, man, that looks amazing. What resort are you staying at? That's going to result in, oh, we're staying here. Are you happy with it? How far is it from the airport? Like then you can really start having a conversation with somebody about something that's important to them. Right. So anyway, that was a total side note, but I just want to make sure that when you guys are looking at this messenger mission, I'm going to have to call it MMM because I cannot say all three of those words in a row and get them out properly. When you're looking at the MMM, don't overthink it. Just get in Messenger, do what needs to be done, but don't forget the bottom part there where it talks about your social media, because your messages are going to come from social media and or getting out there in the real world. Sandra says, and this is a great time to check in on your Florida friends. Yeah. Paso Grill flooded last night, but it's fine this morning. Don't anybody panic. So don't overthink it. Stay in the moment. Don't focus on what activity is going to like take you to a trip or take you to whatever, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because for a long time, the first few years, I worked only to travel. I would flip customers for a motor. I would do half off. I would do whatever I had to do to get on that damn trip. And slowly but surely, I started to realize that if I just work this business like the business it's meant to be, I can pay for that trip and go anytime I want and stay as long as I want versus having to go on a Thursday and come home on a Sunday, right? Like really work this business, and the bonuses are great and fun and good, but build this for the long run. Okay. Stay consistent by staying in the moment. And with that, I'm going to shut up and hop off here. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to add really quick? Because we have a mashup Monday that's starting in 4 minutes. Okay. All right. Bye. See you later.